Yup.
We should be live.
Chilling a little bit too much. I was late to Hump Day Hangout. So, hey, everybody, welcome. It is Hump Day Hangout. Today is the 15th of September, 2021, and this is episode 356. So we're going to take a minute, say hello to everybody, get caught up. I've got a couple of announcements, and then we will get into answering your questions. So first things first, Chris, how you doing today, man?
Doing good. Excited to be here. Been quite a long day fiddling around with a couple of things for Pullful Live. So yeah, like exciting times ahead. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Very nice. All right. I'm excited. I don't even know what he's talking about. So you got me on the edge. I'm wondering what's going on there.
I gotta keep a couple of people in the dark, gotta make it interesting for everyone.
Cool. All right. Marco, how about you? How you doing today?
Busy, man. Always busy. Our schema software is almost ready for the next group of beta testers, man. We got a couple of commas out of place that we've been trying to fix, but you fix one and 50 other things pop up. That's how coding goes. And then you go and quash those 50 and then another one pops up somewhere, which will break things upstream and downstream. And it's a work in progress, but we have organization, local business, services, article, and FAQ schema, all with node referencing. And that's the most difficult part of all. Anybody can do a schema app or schema software anywhere where you fill in the blanks and it gives you the code, period. But then you're going to have different pieces of code for each type. But the whole idea is to be able to reference everything to create one schema and give Google a solid foundation for what it is that you're doing. Whether it's a web page or a website, or you're talking about a person, or are you talking about the organization? What part of the organization are you talking about? This is a sub-organization. If it's a local business and you have services, what if you have 3 services? You bring all of those in and you reference those in the schema, on the page, and back and forth. So it's getting all that together to make sense and for people to just go in and fill out and with a click, have it all available. Which is exactly what we're doing, and it's exactly what we're giving people. So that's going to be fun. We're trying to have it done today. If we do, we will announce it in all of our groups that it's open. It's only going to be 100 people. It's not scarcity. It's just that we want to see what the servers can handle, and so we'll do it a little bit at a time. Not because we want people to think that we don't have room or that they can't get in or whatever it is that fucking marketers do. I'm not a marketer. I just want the shit to work the way that it's supposed to work.
Fair enough. Well, I had the same thing happen. Same thing. Not a coding issue, but had tracking. Not tracking. I had CSS code show up because I was updating the POFU Live funnel today and ended up with like a page of CSS script showing on the funnel because I was trying to update some things and totally effed it up. The good news is we've resolved it. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, or you want to see what the confirmed schedule is, you can go to pofulive.com and check that out. And you won't see the CSS at the bottom of the page anymore. If you do, send an email to support Hispanic Mastery and let me know I screwed it up. But we should be good to go. We got all of that finalized and looking forward to that. It's just a week and a half to go now. And then like Marco was saying, it's not scarcity on there. We do have a limited number of seats that we can do with POFU Live. So I encourage you to grab your tickets. It should be fine, but we also want to make sure that we know who we got coming so we can get started, hit the ground running on the 25th. If you're not going to get a VIP ticket, join us also on the 24th. So pofulive.com, be sure to check that out. Bradley, you were busy doing some technical stuff in the background, so it's your turn. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. Busy as all hell too. Pretty excited about stuff going on. POFU Live next weekend. That's kind of be really cool. I've been kind of working on preparing for that for the last few hours and hope to have that done within the next few days. Just got a lot of stuff cooking, so happy to be here.
Cool. All right. Well, then let's not belabor it. Let's get into it and answer some people's questions.
All right. Let me grab the screen. Don't have a ton of questions yet, guys. So if you have any questions, you're here live, go ahead and post them. I'm sure we will have time to get to them. The first question is from MJ. He says, hi, SM team. Love the stuff and the info you provide. I have a question about a backlink package ordered last April, which I don't know if that means this year or last year. But anyways, I went to the spreadsheet. I purchased tier 1, tier 2, and GSA links and randomly checked some of the links. Some are now going to empty blog posts, and some others are going to unrelated blogs in another niche. My question is, do these links slowly disappear over time? Is this natural? Just looking for an explanation from my client, who also went and randomly checked some links and found the same thing. That's a good question. I can't answer that. That's something you'd have to ask of Dedia or MGYB support. It depends on really, yes, Web 2.0 links and like high volume type links like that are going to, over time, they're going to, a lot of times pages will get, terminated or deleted from the sites. And this happens over time. That's why when you're doing bulk links, you have to do them every so often, right? You have to do them in cycles or in stages because they don't last forever. It's not like getting one well-placed link in an article on a high trafficked blog or something like that, where it's should last indefinitely. With the spam links, let's just call it what it is. That's what it is. They're spam links. When it comes to spam links, especially high volume spam links, there is a shelf life to them. And that's why we recommend that you continually build in stages, right? So for example, syndication network might be your target URLs for month 1. Then month 2, you might do SEO Shield targets, right? And in month 3, you might do GMB asset targets, right? And in month 4, you might go back to doing syndication network targets and press releases. And so every few months, you end up building another package of bulk links back to what your original targets are, because over time links atrophy, they get just flat out discredited by Google. Some of them will be deleted from the sites that they were originally posted on. And sometimes that's the platform that does it, not by anybody's direct intervention. Other times the sites that they were originally posted on will be terminated themselves. Like essentially they'll get terminated for spam or whatever. And so all those types of things, when you're doing high volume links, they have a shelf life and you shouldn't expect them to last forever. I don't know what the threshold is. I've not been using spam links that much myself for the last several months because I've been doing a lot more targeted, more focused type of link building. So that's maybe a question Marco can answer more clearly than I just did. But that's also something that Dedi, our link builder, would have to give a direct answer to. So Marco, what do you think?
The direct answer is that all links die over time. Even the most well-placed links. It could be that the website, how many people had MySpace in the beginning? And all those great links from MySpace, or I don't know if you guys did Squidoo. They were fantastic links. They would rank. Then all of a sudden the website was gone. Many links will come and go over time. Now, just because you looked for a link and it wasn't there, does that mean that the link was never there? Nor does it mean that the link is no longer there. It could be that it fell out of Google's active index. Happens all the time. So links will slowly disappear over time. This is the natural process. Look at any software. You like doing Majestic, Bradley. Go to Majestic and look at the link profile and see how many links. You can go into the historic index, see how many it has, see how many it has now, see how many new links it finds. Excuse me. See how many links are no longer there. This is the natural process of links, period. We're going to go a step further because there's 2 different types of spam links that we're talking about. We're talking about Web 2.0 and GSA. In your case, you use both. The Web 2.0s, because of the blog roll, because of the way it works, will move over time. So they will also disappear over time. GSA is literally kitchen sink, except with better filters. And it's only meant to power up the next tier. You should never use those. And by the way, you did it correctly. You should never use those directly to wherever it is that you're going to, whatever the destination is. There should always be a filter. In this case, is Web 2.0, which is fine. But this is why we always recommend a regular link building schedule.
Yeah.
It's for this very reason. Not only is Bradley absolutely right in that Google will discount some of the links, it will never find other links. Others it will find and they will fall off the index. This is the natural process, not only with Web 2.0, but also with GSA kitchen sink spam. And even with natural web place links, websites come and go. Think of the millions upon millions of websites there are all over the web, websites that there used to be that are no longer there, websites that get 301, things just get lost in the process. If you do it correctly, if you have your tier 1 branded in place and your SEO shield and you're building into those, you should do that on a regular schedule. You should cycle through those so that you're constantly building up your page rank and your ranking score. And as a matter of fact, in the Heavy Hitter Club, we show you how to create exponential power from those links. There is a way so that your link building has maximum effect, so that we show you how your link building should be done so that you can produce maximum power and maximum indexing. There's many different things that you can do. But at the end of the day, the web has a natural lifespan, let's call it. Not the web itself, but things that are produced in the web, PDFs, you name it. I mean, I have stuff that sometimes I click on and it no longer goes anywhere because the thing is no longer there. It may have moved. There's so many different things. So this is, he ordered it, when does he say? April of this year, I'm thinking it because he says last April. So that was literally 5 months ago. You should have been doing link building in between then and now to continue the power flowing into it, unless the art, the natural art, people naturally building links to your website, people naturally coming to your website and taking action, activity relevance, trust and authority took over so that you no longer need link building as much. You still will to power it up because you'll see things will drop. You'll see that certain keyword sets will begin to drop. And so you need to power those up and you need to know how. With schema, with content, with everything that we show you how to do, expanding your drive stack and G-site and link building. It's part of the process. And we tell you to make sure you keep doing maintenance on that because you need to do it. You need to keep powering it up until the natural process takes over and can keep it boosted over time. This is when you slow down your link building, but you should never completely stop.
Agreed. And part of that is because you can imagine if you do a big link blast, even to your tier 1 assets, like obviously not to your money site, we don't ever recommend doing that, especially with those kind of links. But if you do a big link blast month 1 and then you don't do anything for 5 months, and I'm not saying you didn't, you were asking about links that you built 5 months ago or whatever in April. But what I'm saying is just for everybody's benefit, if you were to build a big link blast to something and you just did it once, that's just very unnatural, right? If you build links 1 month and then next month you build links to some other target URLs, and then the following month you build more links to your original set of target URLs, that's much more natural because it's not just about the time frame of the link building itself, because as Marco said, a lot of the, especially spam links, they take forever to get found by Google sometimes, and sometimes some of them, a percentage of them never get found or never get indexed. So when you do a big link blast, especially a tiered link blast like that, it's going to take weeks and weeks before everything gets found or crawled, or a lot of times it won't get indexed, but they'll still get found and crawled. And those types of things, that's natural. So that's why it's better to do bulk links like that in stages, because it takes time. There's a time lag between when the link building campaign is completed and when all of the links have been found and crawled, or all the links that are going to be found and crawled have been, if that makes sense. So it's good to do, like I said, stages, like month 1, batch 1, month 2, batch 2, month 3, batch 3, then month 4, go back to batch 1 again, if that makes sense. And it's just kind of a cycle through of link building so that you're continually building to the assets that you want to power up. And you do it kind of in stages. And that way it looks a hell of a lot more natural that way. And you start to accrue more power that way too, than just doing like a one and done type deal. And again, I don't know that that's what you did. I'm just saying that for everyone's benefit.
Yep.
So. Okay. Next question. Rupert says, what are your thoughts on parked domains for monetizing domains with some amounts of traffic? Is this viable? Is there something better that can be done? like, how do you make money from a park domain?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how, you do that, to be honest, Rupert. So I'm not sure if you know of a strategy to make money from park domains. If you've got domains that have traffic or had traffic and you purchased them because they were dropped or whatever, I would recommend putting up, some sort of affiliate offer or an opt-in or even AdSense for God's sakes. But I think AdSense restrictions, I don't do any AdSense stuff, but I believe from what I hear that you have to have a certain level of traffic, but now to get accepted or something like that. Is that true, Marco?
Not only to get accepted, but to get the website where you're going to run ads accepted, it has to have a certain amount of your own content. It can't just be reproduced content. There's a lot of restrictions that AdSense added since back in the day when you could do just about anything back then.
Adam, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just think this is interesting in my mind. And I'll preface this with, like, I don't have experience with this, so this is not real world stuff, but I'm just kind of extrapolating on what he's asking and saying, if it's a park domain, I guess, like, if you've got literally nothing else going on with it and there's some traffic coming through it, then yeah, you could do it, right? When you go to an expired domain and you see the GoDaddy, parked page with their links or whoever else is running it. But I kind of, and that's truly passive traffic. And I'm kind of thinking of this in the terms of income, but my guess is your time and effort over time would be better spent, like Bradley says, putting up something, just putting up a landing page, putting up some sort of informational content around it, not building out maybe a whole site, but investing that time and making it into more of an asset instead of just like redirecting it or just having a bare link there on kind of a, empty page.
Yeah, because again, I've never parked a domain intentionally. So I don't know, maybe they pay you some sort of ad revenue or something. I don't know. Cause usually when you land on a park domain, it doesn't have ads. It's just a parking page. So like, where does the revenue come from? I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with that.
There's a parking page and they run ads on there because you will have links, but you don't get part of that. I've never seen where you participate in any of that. That goes to the domain name registrar.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's what. So I don't know. I've had throughout the time that I've been on the web thousands of domains, and I've never made a penny from a park domain. So I don't even know how this works. I can't answer this question because I don't know how that works.
Yeah. Yeah, me neither. I think there's, like I said, way better ways. If you've got domains that have traffic, like utilize that traffic in a wiser way, which would be, especially if they're relevant to whatever industries you're working in or projects that you're working on, put up a little bit of content and use them as, like referral traffic points to your money sites, or use them as discovery sites. Like, in other words, put some like one example is you could use like Magic Page plugin or some sort of type of plugin like that will help you to build mass pages that you could throw up some content on, build out some pages on it. And I like to connect them to Search Console and then use the Search Console search query report to determine which queries are bringing or showing, giving pages on that site impressions for. And you could even sort by average rank, and you could figure out which pages are potentially ranking or close to ranking. And then you could go out and set up more traditional pages or websites on those particular, those search queries or for those search queries, if that makes sense. So again, like those are all things that you can do with sites with domains that have traffic that you picked up, however you picked them up. Instead of just parking them, I would use them for traffic redirection, which that's another thing you could do is 301 redirect them to a relevant page that you own that's already been built out. So at least that traffic is being redirected to somewhere where there's a call to action, a conversion mechanism, so to speak. And again, an opt-in, an affiliate offer. If it's for local stuff, it could be redirected to, target URL, to a GMB map URL, which would be traffic signals. There's all kinds of stuff that you can do with it that I think would be better than parking it. It's a good question, though. Randy's up next. He says, hey, SM, what are your thoughts on autoblogging? Is this a viable strategy to generate traffic and help with ranking primary money sites, specifically AI-powered autoblogs that paraphrase different content using AI and then combine different content together like videos? Last I looked at it, people were saying these blogs were penalized for duplicate content and wouldn't rank. Also, is there any potential copyright issues with this approach? Well, if you're I'm not an attorney, but as far as the copyright issue stuff, if you're rephrasing, it's just like using spinners. As long as it's over a certain it's under a certain threshold of duplicate, then there shouldn't be any issues with that. Example, there's Copyscape and some other different services out there that will show you. And I believe as long as it's under, I think it's like 35% or something like that, it should be fine. But again, I'm not an attorney and I don't do much of that, so I can't really answer that question definitively. Can autoblogs work? Yeah, they can, especially if they're built correctly. Damon Nelson has RSS Master technology that builds some beautiful autoblogs. I mean, stuff that you would never know in a million years are autoblogs. It's just amazing. So, if they're done well, they can be a viable strategy for sure. They can be a good strategy to build like essentially a private blog network sites just for SEO purposes. In other words, for backlinks. If they're done well, they can be used for that. They can also be used because if they're done well, they can start to generate their own traffic, which makes them that much more powerful, right? Even more powerful is if you've got a site with real genuine traffic, as opposed to just using it for SEO purposes, for backlinks and stuff. What I'm saying is if you do it correctly, you can turn the autoblogs into assets that can be used for directing traffic, for backlinks, for running ads on. So like creating your own ad network of autoblogging sites. I think that's what Damon's trying to do with his RSS master sites, and his group is right now is create his own ad network. So, there's a lot of stuff that you can do with autoblogs if they're done right. That's the whole point. Like you can do some real shitty autoblogs that probably wouldn't do anything, may even cause some harm if you're using them to link to other stuff. But if you do it right, then they should, they absolutely can be beneficial. So I don't know if that answered your question, but you got an opinion on that, Marco?
Yeah, well, it's not opinion. We're showing it as a case study in the Heavy Hitter Club, where a mass page build with an auto blog is, I'm looking at the analytics right now. It's getting 600 users per day average. Sessions are at 5.4K for the week, 35% bounce rate, auto blog, mass page build. And the session duration is 15 minutes. That's how long a person, so you're talking 600 users a day spending on average 15 minutes per person on the website. So does this work? Fuck yeah. Who, like when they say, people say that they won't rank or that you get penalized, like who are these idiots? Because I can't call it anything, but all you have to do is test it and see how well it works, how well auto blogging works, how well mashing works, how well so-called duplicate content works. Not that entity tuned content doesn't work that much better. It does. It works fantastically well. It works phenomenally well, much better than taking the same content and just publishing it over and over and over again. When you add your own, when you tune for the entity, you get much better results. But how much better can you get than 600 people on average per day spending 15 minutes each on average on your website and taking action? Think about that. A person spends 15 minutes on your website. They're really interacting with the content that you're giving them, and they're going to take action. If you're running AdSense, you're going to make more money from the ads that are being served to these people. They will take action. This is Autoblog. And there's all kinds of tools. You said Damon Nelson, Lisa Allen, what's his name? Jeremy is trying to come up with an RSS master. There's plugins that will do it. Now, here's the problem. And we saw that recently with someone, and I'm not going to mention the name, where the person published content that belonged to a newspaper. And the newspaper filed a claim for a takedown. The other person refused to take it down and then got sued. So it can happen. But how you avoid this is by fucking complying. They come and warn you. Please take this down. It's ours. Take it the fuck down. What the hell is your problem? They're giving you a warning. If you don't take it down, we're going to see you. No, you're going to thumb your nose at right? Flip them off and say, no, I'm going to use this because I feel like it. Don't do that shit. You don't want to get yourself into legal problems like that. But does it work? It works phenomenally well. There's no such thing as duplicate content. There's absolutely no such thing. There's the original copy, the master copy, and then there's copies of the master. Proper attribution, and you're fine if you're using a copy of the original. It's the foundation of IFTTT, giving proper credit where credit is due. How long have we been doing that? It seems like it's almost a decade that we're going on in IFTTT and publishing our own content and having it work. Copyright issues, yes, but they will file a claim and tell you to take it down. So take it down. But you can get really good results, man. We're doing that in the Heavy Hitter Club. We're showing it. As a matter of fact, mass page building is coming up. That's the next set of webinars. We're going to show exactly how it was done.
And remember that you can also, there's the DMCA, there's thresholds for like what would constitute copyright infringement. If you're summarizing other people's content or just producing a like republishing essentially a snippet, like, a couple of sentences or a paragraph or something like that, and then you cite the source. When you can do that, you can set up like with autoblogs and stuff to where they're all nofollow external links or nofollow to specific links. And that's a way to cite the source. And again, you can still republish like snippets that you've extracted from the the whole document or the whole page that you're or content that you're syndicating, and that's typically will suffice as long as you're citing the source. So it's not like if you're republishing the full text of somebody's content and you're not citing the source, especially, then that's when you can get into trouble. And even if you are citing the source, you don't want to republish entire texts of other people's content. I mean, it's not that you can't do it, because you can, and you can likely get away with it, but sometimes you will receive DMC violation or DMCA violation notices, right? Or somebody will request a takedown for you to remove it from the site. I had that happen before years ago when I was doing a lot of two-tier networks or multi-tiered syndication networks. I talk about using other people's RSS feeds or RSS feeds from related content sources to trigger out the second tier networks so that you're not leaving a footprint. And so I would, occasionally I would get an email from a blog out there that a blog owner that would state like, hey, take this down, even though we would have because of the IFTTT applets, we would have a link back, a citation link back to the original source, but we were republishing full content. Right. And so, again, I got away from doing that anyway. But if you were to just do like the art, and remember, you can select, and this is up to the web, whoever's managing the website, you can select RSS full post or full text or summary. So I would intentionally go look for RSS feeds that would only produce summaries in the RSS feed as opposed to full text. So that was kind of a way to mitigate any potential copyright infringement. Right. And so there's ways around that kind of stuff. But as Marco said, using autoblogs, especially if you got rephrasers or paraphrasers, or you're using spinners. And remember, that's originally why spinners were generated. I don't recommend using spinners, but they still do have their place, I suppose. But there's better tools out there like AI assisted rephrasing tools or paraphrasing tools that can take original content and rephrase it in such a way that it becomes unique. And then you don't even have to cite it anyways. So, I mean, ethically, you probably should, but up to you. It's up to you to decide what you want to do with that. And by the way, Walt, I saw that. Thank you. I was taking a look at that page. I guess Sea-Doo does give you some sort of advertising revenue for parking domains. Cool, which is interesting.
I just hate when I see this, and I just looked at it again, and it just pisses me off. People are saying that these blogs are penalized for duplicate content and won't rank. I can show you rankings number one after number one after number one after number one with duplicate so-called duplicate content that won't rank. Holy crap, who are these people and what are they doing?
They're regurgitating shit that they read on Search Engine Journal or whatever.
Or that they heard. I heard somebody say that they heard that somebody said.
Mike Harris, with the security updates coming to Google Drive, how this question won't go away. And Mike, we're not,
and it won't
picking on you. we've had this question a million times, and that's fine. And I'm sure we're going to get it a million more times. So it's fine. But with the security updates coming to Google Drive, how can we confirm our drive stacks aren't affected? Logged into a few and no message pops up indicating settings were changed. Yeah, we don't control Google, so we just got to wait until you see the message. And again, I've had mixed interpretations of what the actual message means anyways. So I don't necessarily know that it's going to cause any issues at all. I think it has to do with more or less who you shared a document with. So in other words, and again, I've had kind of my own issues with interpreting what the security message is, what the security action actually is. And so I've thought, when I've read it one time, I thought, okay, yeah, this could potentially affect drive stacks. But then I read it again and I was like, okay, no, this is only going to affect files that have been shared with other people for like editing purposes. And you have to go reauthorize those to be shared to the same people, or else they're going to have to request sharing again after the change goes into effect. The next time, if you didn't specify what you wanted Google to do with that file, then the next time after the change has gone into effect, the next time that somebody you shared it with goes to edit or access the file, they will need to request access again. I don't think it will affect, and again, I may be wrong about this, but I don't think it will affect files that were previously marked as public, because that usually marked as public doesn't allow people to edit them anyways. It just allows them to view them, if that makes sense. So I think it's more of a sharing security update, but I could be wrong about that. Marco, do you have any additional information on that?
No, I have nothing. I have nothing since the original email went out, and I went into one of my drive stacks and I looked at what was happening, and it was a simple opt out of the security setting, out of the privacy setting. You could opt the file out, and it was that simple. I haven't seen it since, so I don't know what Google is doing. And since I'm not on the inside in Google, I cannot tell you other than as soon as we know, we will let you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not really all that concerned about it, because like I said, the first time I read it, I thought as like, okay, yeah, this could be an issue. But then I've seen it a couple of other times. And some, I got so many damn accounts. I don't know which ones I've seen it in and which ones I don't. But I dug into it a little bit further, and I think that it's just going to affect who has editing access. You have to opt out of it resetting, or the next, and if you don't, then the next time after the change goes into effect, whatever it is, then the next time somebody goes to edit that you had previously shared it with, they will have to request editing access again. I don't think it affects the ability to view shared URLs or public URLs. And again, I could be wrong about that, but that's the way that I interpreted it the last time I read it. And so I'm going to go with that until I see otherwise. And like I said, guys, when we figure it out, we have a more definitive answer, we will certainly announce it publicly in as many places as we can. Okay.
Yep.
All right. We're going to run out of time, or run out of questions here, guys. If you got any questions, go ahead and post them. We're going to get to Nick. And then after that, we're going to wrap it up if you don't have any other questions. So Nick says, if you receive nofollow links with UTMs attached to the URLs from spammy sites, is there any harm? I don't know how the UTMs would change anything at all. So, I mean, they are linking with branded anchor text to the home. They are linking with branded anchor text to the homepage of a project. They send some traffic, but not sure if they could be problematic for search engines. I'm not sure, Nick. I know that I've been doing a ton of backlink analysis for stuff lately for the last couple of months, actually. And by the way, that kind of goes back to Marco was mentioning earlier. Yes, I like to use Majestic. And by the way, Majestic doesn't pick up, or they automatically just filter out a lot of really low quality links where you won't even see them in a backlink profile, just so you know. And that's just kind of a reference back to an earlier question. But as far as what you're asking, yes, sometimes we had a question similar to this a few weeks ago. You'll notice a lot, especially like it's probably across the board in all local businesses, but I really just focus in on tree service and home service type contractors. And I see this all the time, like those coupon sites that will link to, and they're automated sites. You can tell they're scraper sites. They just go out and scrape stuff and they link back to sites, and there'll be these like real shitty nofollow links with some generic anchor text or whatever. And you see the same shitty coupon sites linking back to many, many different websites. Like, in other words, again, I'm always analyzing like tree service contractor sites, and I see the same damn sites linking back to multiple tree service contractors across different cities and everything else. And so, I just don't care if those types of sites, because they're so common and so many other websites have them in their backlink profile, it's not an issue. I don't worry about it. The only time that I really start to worry about it is if I see something like, again, occasionally I will see some that are just so spammy that I don't want them in my backlink profile. And I know Marco has a different opinion on this, which is fine, but I will extract those domains or those URLs, which, by the way, you can find them even if backlink analysis tools like Majestic that filter out low quality links don't show them to you. If your sites are attached to Search Console, you can go in and extract your external backlink report, right? Your external link report. And it won't give you the actual URL, but it'll give you the domains. So those are great if you find these types of sites, and if you're concerned about them, again, like the coupon sites, they're so common in local businesses' backlink profile that I just don't worry about those. But there are some like directory style sites that were set up by SEOs. I don't know what the purpose of them were for, because there weren't even ads on them. But in particular, I've had a couple of sites that have been hit with dozens of these exact duplicate, just different domain sites that are just nothing but lists, like page after page after page of just URLs with URL anchors to their target, whatever URL, and it's just to the root domain. And so it's really, really spammy. And and I'm talking about like there'll be 10,000 links on a page and there will be hundreds of pages, and that's all that's on the page, nothing else. So for those, they come up as showing as extremely toxic in SEMrush, although SEMrush is really, really trigger happy with determining what's toxic and what's not. And so I will go into Search Console and extract the external link report and then just find those domains in there. And then I will just submit them to the disavow file, Google's disavow tool as a domain, to disavow the entire domain for those spammy sites. Again, you don't have to do that unless you can identify that it is causing you a problem. Or if you want to take preventive measures like I have in the past. I wouldn't recommend doing it for, like I said, some of those really, really, really common ones. But if you find stuff that's incredibly spammy, I do it as a preventative measure. I know Marco doesn't, but again, to each their own. So that's my recommendation. What do you say?
I have yet to disavow a link since I've never disavowed a link, as a matter of fact, ever. And when the distance graph, or the ranking score patent, which introduced the distance graph, when it first came out, and then that's 2015. And then when it was updated, I think it was 2018, where PageRank was incorporated into the ranking score patent and the distance graph was still applied. If you read those two patents, it's not necessary to disavow any link, because Google will naturally put that in air quotes, disavow that link. It won't count. There has to be relevance, activity, relevance, trust, and authority. And the most important part of that link is relevance and trust and authority. And of course, the link that comes through it. Now, in this specific instance, it applies even more because the UTMs are attached by whoever's giving you the link to see what activity is on there. That's what UTM is for. That's what it measures. Whatever happens to that link at the destination. And what constitutes a spammy site. And they're being kind enough to brand it. It's branded anchors. Not only are they kind enough to brand it for you, but they're no following it. So what harm can come from a branded no follow link? I might be concerned if it were follow links, but they're branded. What harm can come from it? It's either it doesn't matter, it doesn't make any difference, or you're only going to benefit. And I'm in the toughest niches you can imagine in the most populous cities in the US. I'm in other countries around the world. I'm in New York, I'm in Chicago, I am in San Francisco, I'm in Los Angeles, ranking in some of the toughest niches that you can imagine. And I have yet to disavow a link. Why? If you understand the distance graph, it's not necessary. You don't have to. You can only benefit. And if, matter of fact, if you set up your SEO shield the way that you're supposed to. You do your link building through your SEO shield. It's all going to fill in to this, well, again, air quotes, natural link pattern and link building pattern, and how your website is getting links from throughout the web. And some of these links being in there with UTMs where they're tracking whatever's coming, and they're branded and they're no followed. I mean, it's irrelevant. I wouldn't even waste my time worrying about it.
Yeah, I've got the screen paused because I was trying to find. Here we go. I mean, like, here's just an example. This one's funny, actually. I'm going to unpause the screen here as soon as I can get Zoom to cooperate. All right, so here's a list of domains that I had to disavow, or that I chose to disavow because they were linking to one of my projects. And they're all exact duplicates of each other, perhaps different colors, but they're the exact same types of sites. And you can see that this is what they do. And in this case, for whatever reason, there's an actual list of keywords here. And they're all linking to greatdumps.to, which I'm afraid I'm not even going to click on that because it doesn't sound like something I want to click on, greatdumps.to. But like in this case, you can see that this is just a list of keywords. And look at this page, guys. I mean, I don't know. Let me scroll over a little bit. Well, this page isn't super long, but those are all keywords, all linked to the exact same domain. And in fact, if I turn on, look, they're follow links. I just turned that on to highlight no follow. Those are all follow links that are linking back to the exact same. And again, I'm not going to click on it because I don't know what it's going to open up to, but that's what these shitty sites are doing. I know, like I said, Marco doesn't disavow and all that, and I get that. That's fine. I've done it as a precautionary measure just because these are just total junk sites. And I got this many domains were hooked up to just one of my sites. Right. So there were literally hundreds of backlinks coming from these sites with that I didn't want it placed there. So I just went and disavowed them. So anyway, it's interesting because you can see how they got all these different like categories and shit on here. And let's take a look at this one. See, this is it's just weird. I just don't understand what the point of all this shit is, honestly. I just don't know why people would build these types of sites. There's not even ads on these sites. Like I don't know what the point of these are for. So anyway,
I would just say thank you and move on.
Yeah.
And probably blast it to see how much benefit I could get from it.
Yeah, I guess that's something you could do. I did it out, like I said, as a precautionary measure. Well, look, guys, we got about 18 minutes to go. There's no additional questions. I say wrap it up and get back to work. What do you say?
Sounds good to me.
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. We'll see you.